Hello everybody, welcome back to another video with Lim Reviews. Now today we have here a very interesting device. This is the Realme GT Master Edition. Now this device here was just launched in Malaysia earlier on in the day for RM1399. That's the flash sale price for 8GB of RAM and 128GB of internal memory. Now of course if you want the higher spec, there is also an 8 plus 256GB version that is going for 1699. Obviously all the details in the link below, but today we're going to be focusing mainly on this device right here. I've been using it for the past 2 weeks, so I have a couple of things that I want to share with you guys, and maybe this video should help you out if you are considering to buy the Realme GT Master right here. Before we do that, Realme did send over a very interesting package for me to do the unboxing. I'm just going to show it very quickly to you. We do have this fairly cute luggage bag. I don't think it'll make it to the retail, but it does look very cute, so I'm going to show it to you guys. In this box, it actually came a couple of interesting stuff as well. We do have some Realme stickers right here. We also get some Realme magnets, so quite a few bit of fancy stuff going on in the box right here. But back to the device itself, we're going to focus on the Realme GT. Before I go into the details about the Realme GT, let me just show you a very quick unboxing of what actually came in the box of this Realme GT Master, so you have an idea of what you will be getting as a potential buyer. Alright. Alright guys, so back to this device right here. After unboxing, when I first took the device out from the box, honestly speaking, I was very pleased with the way it looks. Now I already know online because I've seen a ton of pictures, but actually seeing the device in the flesh itself is very nice. Obviously, we have a lot of fancy designs on smartphones these days, but this one here actually is quite a nice one. We have this sort of like vegan leather kind of feel at the back here. It is very comfortable to hold, and I personally think that this phone works the best without actually using a case. Now, on that note, Realme also actually provided us one of the nicest case that I've seen in a box for quite a fair bit now. It also has this kind of design of the luggage bag kind of thing, and I think it's really cool here. Very nice case here compared to all the transparent case that we have. But yes, this is the one that you should be holding without a case. Alright, so now let's move on to the next point and talk very quickly about that display. Do notice that we do have an in-display fingerprint scanner over here, but in terms of the display, we're also getting a very nice display here. At the front, we have a 1080p AMOLED display from Samsung apparently, and what I really like about it is that it is 120Hz, which is very responsive. When I used this device, the main thing that came to my mind was always how responsive it was. Everything just reacts to my touch very accurately, and that is something that I need to point out. Apart from that, I also found that the display of this device right here is actually very bright. It goes all the way up to 1000 nits, so of course if you're indoors or if you're outdoors, you will have no issues browsing on your display itself. Now another thing that I need to point out here obviously is also because it is an AMOLED panel, so colors and contrasts are great. Everything just pops onto this display right here, and you are not being shortchanged in terms of the display. It is a fairly good display right here. Alright, so now let's move on very quickly to the performance. Now the Snapdragon 778 right here is actually a fairly new processor, and it is actually a mid-range processor. You can't really call it a flagship killer, but it's definitely one of the stronger mid-range devices out here. So I've tested it out for quite a bit now. I'm going to show you a very quick benchmark test. These are the scores that you can get from the Realme GT Master. Use this as just a reference sake, but in terms of day-to-day use, honestly speaking, again, processors this day has become very, very powerful, very efficient as well, and it is the same case on the Realme GT Master over here. Now, launching apps is very fast. Browsing around is also very smooth and responsive. Again, I've mentioned that many times now. And in terms of the haptics here, it does feel good as well. You do have a decent linear engine haptics, so it actually gives you this short and crisp kind of vibrations throughout the UI. Now, what you might need to know here is in terms of gaming. So obviously, day-to-day tasks just goes by in a breeze, but gaming might be a bit challenging for those who want to play like your Genshin Impact on the highest graphics settings. Obviously, this is still a mid-range device here. You can run the game, but it will not run at the highest settings with the smoothest performance. I also did notice one thing with my Mobile Legends right here. I play Mobile Legends all the time, but it does not support the Ultra settings on Mobile Legends. Hopefully that will be supported in the future update, but for now, maximum I can go with is high. Another game that I've been playing quite a fair bit here that also takes up quite a lot of graphics is the Asphalt 9. So racing on that game, I go for the maximum graphics. It does support it, but occasionally I do see a little bit of pixelation here and there. It's not to say the worst, but it does still run smoothly, and the good thing about this is overall I did notice that it doesn't heat up that much. So this could be possibly due to the so-called vapor chamber that Realme says in this device. It's keeping things cool, but I also think that this might be contributed to the back here because it's made of this vegan leather sort of thing. So when you hold the device on the back, you don't really feel like there's a lot of heat coming through, but it still keeps it fairly cool. Not to say totally cool, but not to say hot as well. So definitely, if you're going to be playing like medium kind of games, not to say super high graphic intensive games on this device right here, you should be able to do it without any issues. Of course, if you still want to play high graphic games, I would suggest that you turn down the settings for the graphics to medium so that you can run it smoothly on the Realme GT Master right here. Now, very quickly, let's talk a little bit about the cameras at the back here, because Realme is suggesting that this is actually a very cool camera that we have, especially if you like to do some kind of street photography and all those stuff. I must say that in terms of the image quality, I've taken quite a fair bit of pictures here, and it does come with a triple camera setup. It has a 64 megapixel main sensor. It also has an 8 megapixel ultra wide and a 2 megapixel macro lens. But yeah, again, in terms of image quality, everything looks very nice. In broad daylight, pictures do look very clear and crisp. For the 64 megapixel main sensor, I noticed that the colors were also very natural. You don't get those super kind of saturated pictures unless you turn on the AI mode, and that means that all your photos will just pop like crazy. But otherwise, I would say the 64 megapixel here is a very decent sensor. Now, what I do want to point out here is that the ultra wide camera is also pretty good. I saw some reviews on YouTube, and people were just saying that it's not that clear and all that. Again, let me just show you a couple of shots that I personally took with the wide angle camera. You can see the quality for yourself. Of course, if you're going to be like printing it out and framing it on your wall, it will be pixelated. But if you're just looking at it from your mobile screens or even from your computer screen, it just looks quite well. I think it's a decent job for the wide angle sensor. Now, the third thing I want to point out here is that Realme has also included some pretty cool effects with its dynamic bokeh, with its like lights flare and something like that. So this is something that you can play around with. I think it's a very creative way to use the cameras. Of course, again, we have tons of features on cameras these days, and this is what Realme is pushing out with the GT Master. Here are a few interesting shots that I think looks quite realistic as well, using the dynamic bokeh as well as the dynamic flare kind of thing. But yeah, just check it out. It looks pretty cool here. I love the kind of photos that is coming out from this Realme GT right here. Alright, last but not least, let's talk very quickly about the battery at the back here. We have a 4300 mAh battery right here. It's not the largest, but the good news here is that it supports up to 65 watt fast charge, and apparently you can do 0 to 100% in just 33 minutes. So very impressive stuff there. Very fast charging. Of course, if you're the kind of person who forgets to charge, just plug it in. 10 minutes will do you pretty well. Final thing before I want to go, and that is the speakers that I have to talk about here. So this device only comes with a single firing speaker at the bottom, and I think that is probably the main downside to this device right here. And because that is, I'm used to having stereo speakers, I'm used to having audio coming from both sides rather than just from the bottom. Of course, if you do cover up the phone at the bottom here while you game, you will actually lose some of your audio. So this is probably the only downside to this device that I find, and that is with the speakers. Alright guys, I think that's pretty much what I want to share with you guys. Overall, I think the experience with the Realme GT Master here has been pretty positive. Everything has been buttery smooth. You have a great display, you have fun cameras. The only thing I would say is the speakers that's not that good. But one more thing also that you need to know is that Realme UI 2.0 is very smooth now, it's very mature, and it comes with very little bloatware pre-installed into the device, making it very smooth for operation. Alright, I think that's what I want to cover here with the Realme GT Master. Again, if you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye!